Welcome to everyone. I'm Sergi Huesca, the voice behind this podcast. I'm a 25-year-old guy from Valencia, Spain. It's been a long time since I recorded the introduction to the podcast audio, and things changed for the better, so I'm making a new one because the old one seems pretty unprofessional for what I'm actually doing, or feel like I'm doing. I wanted to say it first in English and then in Spanish, so I don't make two separate audios, but I'll just separate them to make it easier for everyone. I encourage you to listen until the end, since the structure is a bit messy and you may find what you are looking for later on. I would love to record audiobooks as a job, but as you can see, I started recording in English just for fun and for practicing the pronunciation. I've been doing it for some months already, and I'm definitely enjoying it. Wouldn't keep it otherwise, no? Sometimes I struggle a bit though, since I work and I'm keeping up with other things, but I've managed to bring an episode every single day for months. Even in May, I was on holiday in Brazil and programmed over 30 episodes in advance. I improved the audio quality by a lot, even if I still have some problems on occasions, and depending on the hour of the day or the noises around, I have a hard time getting them done. My greatest goal with this would be working with doing audiobooks, even if occasionally in the end. In the podcast, the mechanic, gamer language, I'm using is basically uploading English and Spanish episodes alternatively, since I enjoy reading both, and also because I have books in multiple languages and intend to reach more people. It started by reading Norwegian Spanish, but later I realized I found it easier. Yeah, native Spanish, that's why. And I could experiment with voices in that. Also, my mother listens to me and she doesn't understand English, so I decided to keep it up. Hey mom. Plus, if you intend to learn Spanish or want to practice it, I encourage you to do it this way. My Spanish is the one from Spain, so it's neutral, easy to learn. It's not so organized this way, with alternate episodes, but I can do much if I want to keep bringing books in both languages. What I did though is make a YouTube playlist so it's easier to follow. That way, when you finish an episode, the next one chronologically speaking, the one in Spanish, doesn't start automatically. But it's the continuation of the book you are reading instead. I will bring books in other languages like Portuguese or French, but only when I feel brave enough about it. Most probably Portuguese, with The Alchemist or Alquimista from Paulo Coelho in its original language. I know my English isn't perfect, especially my pronunciation, so I always look for some words to know how they are pronounced. I just can't look for all of them. But I do my best, together with the voice acting part, I promise. By reading like this, recording I also force myself to read and not keep reading the whole day or forget to read for weeks. Which doesn't work, to be honest, but like now I'm reading Carol series. But I used to read more than what I bring here in general. Sometimes I even reread it, like it happened with Scythe. Also, that way I read my books because I buy them faster than read them. But what can I say? Pretty sure some of you can identify with it. I don't get anything from this, so what helps me keep going are likes, follows and comments, which I tend to reply to. Therefore, I'd really appreciate it if you give the podcast some love. I also thought it was something a bit stupid when people ask for it, but believe me that it really helps and costs nothing. Still, I'll keep bringing episodes until I get bored with it or can't find the time anymore. The book I bring in English don't have as much of a good reception as the books I record in Spanish, and I understand it because of my pronunciation and that. I even consider stopping it sometimes and needed some extra motivation. But it's a great way to keep practicing and improving. Plus, I also enjoy reading in the original language, or in English in general. So, I won't stop anytime soon as long as I can keep it. The structure this time is a bit chaotic, but organizing my ideas wasn't easy. I've been postponing it for almost a week. So sorry if you get lost. The idea also is making polls, so you can participate in choosing the books I bring. Plus, I also read the comments, as I said, and if you propose a book, I may bring it. I put them on Spotify when I finish a book, the polls on the last chapter of the book I finished. But on YouTube, it's way more accessible, since you can visit the community section of the channel and just vote there without a time limit. If someone wants to know, The Age of the Five from Trudy Canavan is winning the poll, but you can still vote. But even if I take the polls into account, in the end I just read what I feel like, so don't get mad if I postpone a book or something, please. I'm saying this because I accept suggestions from people who ask it directly, like I said. Like it happened with It, the book I'm bringing the next day in English. I even recorded the first episode already. I'm a big Stephen King fan, so it's easy to convince me. He's the writer that made me reconnect with my love for reading in the end. But there are many of his books that despite knowing the story, I haven't really read them, so I'm always willing to bring them. Like, things can change, but mostly I will bring fantasy books, series, and Stephen King books. As you can see, or you know already also, I started with The Cruel Prince from Holly Black, which I enjoyed as a story but can't manage to love it because it feels bad executed by the writer to me. But I would like to keep bringing her books, at least the ones from Fairyland, so I will, at least, bring modern fairy tales from her, which is previous to the Folk of the Earth trilogy. Only to, I don't know, find fan service for the people who came for that. After that, I will see. Like, maybe give a chance to others of her books. Still, I'm willing to bring that kind of genre the most. Young fantasy, I mean. And most of my options are from it. Like, the options I have and that I'm keen on reading at the moment are Eragon's series, which I would read but in English, Shadowhunter's main series, which is an extensive world and I would pretty much get into its sequels, prequels and everything in time, since I'm eager to do it. Just pausing after every series to read something else probably, so I don't get burned. Maybe even Stephen King or something, I will see. And then The Age of the Five from Trudy Canavan, or Millennium's Rule from her also, which I'd love to bring, since it's a finished and closed series. Not The Magician's Guild from her for now, because I already read all 6 books in Spanish. Only the prequel, The Mage, it's left now for me. That's why I have high expectations about the series also. But I may reread it, who knows. There's so many options available. Even more if you suggest things. Stephen King books will keep appearing out of nowhere, just to stop the hits. Sorry. Did I mention Stephen King? Stephen King. Anyways, I was planning to read Percy Jackson, but you have a podcast on Spotify called The World of Percy Jackson, who uploads an episode weekly, and does it pretty well. It can still happen though, that I record it, I mean. But it wouldn't make much sense, since she's good at it, and you have 8 books or so available already. Would take a long time to catch up with her. So, if I end up reading it, it will be in Spanish. I love reading in the originals, I said, but I already listen to the audiobooks in English, so I wouldn't mind. In a way, this podcast was what made me start one of my own. On my own. Lastly, the option I have and I'm afraid to start, even terrified, is Mistborn from Sanderson. I've never read anything from him, but everyone says he's a great fantasy author, and I believe it. Just feels terrifying to start with, because his world is immense, and with thousands of characters' voices to do, I bet. And honestly, it looks like a hole you can't escape from when you start. Like, he has so many books and that. Which isn't precisely bad, but the opposite, I guess. So eventually I'll bring it here. Finally got it all out, and I can breathe. If there's a dash you're postponing, use this to remind you that it's better to just get it into it and stop overthinking about it. But yeah, I may have left out some things, but I hope not. If you have a question about something I didn't explain or say, or even want to make a comment about something I did say, make sure to leave a comment. I'm reading you. And just to finish, if you like the episodes and the content I bring, I'd appreciate it if you could follow me and like the video so I'm aware. Especially with these only talking episodes that I struggle so much to do. Also, if you want me to talk or give my opinion about something, just let me know so I make different episodes. I even thought of bringing puzzle games actually, like Portal or The Doll's Principle. If you want to keep the anonymity, you can tell me on Instagram, Audiobooks SBM, same picture as here. But yeah, let's leave that for another time. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I was clear with the subjects, or clear enough at least. See you next time. Or no, but have a good life regardless of it. Bye.